And you're listening to Greek Speak on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg University in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. The weather outside is currently 50 degrees and cloudy. The high is 52, and tonight's low is 51 with a strong chance of showers throughout the night. Today, we are joined, as always, it's me, Luke Rainey, in the studio with Andrew Mercier, as well as Luke Hillegass. Luke has made his return after a few weeks away from the studio. Glad to have you back, Luke. And this week, we have one of our own from Kappa Sigma. It is Owen Frederick, who serves as our grand treasurer. So, an introduction to Owen. He is a junior student here at SHIP studying marketing and supply chain management as a double major. He joined the Kappa Sigma fraternity in the fall 2024 semester. He serves as an IFC delegate and the Sweetheart Chair in the spring 2025 semester and is now serving as the Grand Treasurer this year. And Owen said he's always loved leadership, and he holds a few leadership positions across different clubs on campus beyond Kappa Sigma. He played football in high school, and Kappa Sigma has somewhat filled that same hole for him, somewhere where he can help build something bigger than his own self. So first off, Owen, welcome to the show, and thank you for being on Greek Speak.
Yeah, thank you, Rainey. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. I've seen a few of the sessions you guys have. They're all great, so I look forward to it.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here with us. And as always, I lead off with the same question every single week. Why did you join Greek life in the first place?
Well, I think it's kind of that point that I sent you guys. Like, I did play football in high school, and obviously I loved it. And I think Kappa Sigma, like, having a leadership opportunity there kind of filled that brotherhood for me, kind of helping to build something bigger than myself and develop other people, you know. That's really big.
So you talk about football in high school. So, I mean, whenever you were, like, looking for that similarity in college, how did you realize that Greek life was going to be able to fill that void for you?
Well, I mean, not until the when I actually rushed the fall 24 semester. My freshman year, I was completely against Greek life. I don't know exactly why. I think it was just the stigma for it, all the air surrounding it. But, I mean, it's been a great decision. I think I mainly decided to rush because my roommates were in it. You know, Ryan Firmstone, Michael Luzzi.
Yes.
I'm sure anybody listening knows Michael Luzzi. So they both got me out. They had nothing but good things to say about Kappa, and I can say that it's really formed my college career so far.
Yeah, Michael was he was our guest on the third Friday last year on November. So that was great to have Luzzi on the show last year. That was a really good episode, and we're glad to have you too. And following that pattern of joining, that made a good difference. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So Owen, you talked about why Greek life and then ultimately why Kappa Sigma as well. But how did the leadership spark? Why did you want to get into leadership? How did that come about? And ultimately, how did you get into leadership?
I mean, like I said, leadership has always been something that I really depended on, something that I love to do. So I think naturally it kind of drew me in. But I didn't consider it until really close to elections, and that's when Andrew Mercier started talking to me about it, and he was like, I think you'd be a good fit. I didn't really see it at the time, but I was like, it doesn't hurt to shoot for it, see what I can do for the fraternity, and here I am, and I've been really enjoying it.
Well, and I think especially getting that encouragement, we talk about that every week, and it's a common theme that Andrew is the one who has been encouraging a lot of positive actions and results within the chapter. So that's not surprising in that sense to hear about it. But what got you to come to Shippensburg University in the first place? I mean,
mainly, honestly, I wasn't looking into Shippensburg at all until my mom brought it up to me. I was looking into the Penn State, Pitt, Millersville even.
Was she an alum?
No, she went to Millersville. So I'm shocked she didn't push me in that direction. I'm glad she didn't because I'm not here. Anyways, she introduced it to me. She said that the campus looks nice. They're accredited for the business program, which was a big thing for me. That's a big reason why I came here. Also, I got accepted into the honors college, and that was a big reason too why I came here. Overall, just the campus and the culture together too. I felt like I kind of fit in here. I like the smaller campus feel.
So you mentioned that you got accepted into the Honors College. Was Shippensburg the only college that you got accepted into the honors program, or were there other schools that you got accepted into?
I got accepted into are you talking just Honors College?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got accepted into Millersville and Westchester, maybe. I think there were two of them. But
do you know what the requirements were to get into a honors college? I've never really heard about it.
Honest, and after because I also did some work for the Honors College, like I was an ambassador for them last semester, and after looking into the requirements for it, like it's really not, it's nothing that crazy. I think it's just a GPA of at least 3.3 in high school. I think that's mainly what they look for. When it comes to like SATs, they really don't look into that too much. It's mostly what you did in high school, if you had any leadership going on, what you did beyond just yourself and grades. You know, the Honors College here, they have at least for getting into the Honors College, they have you write an essay on, you know, a struggle you went through, how you got over it, leadership role that you took up, and how you did in that role. So it is mostly based on like real world what you can do for your community.
Yeah. What got you interested in pursuing the Honors College? Because, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people on this campus who probably had the credentials to be an honor student, but just didn't pursue it as they were applying. Like, so what got you in that?
Well, I mean, I talked to a lot of Honors College students beforehand, and I was like, is this worth it? You know, is it too hard for what you get out of it? Does it have any incentives that I should look into? And absolutely it does. I mean, I register for classes with like the athletes. You know, I get that early registration, get the professors I want, which is huge. And then also just like the community service, we do a lot of community service stuff, so that's been huge.
I mean, I think Rainey's signaling me. I don't know what he's doing over there. He's acting like a little bit of a goofball, but obviously another thing that's important to note is your roommates are also part of the Woods Honors College. How many people, or how many like specific Woods Honors colleges or college classes are there? Like, what's the structure of that? I believe that University 101 is one. Like, what's the structure of the classes that you may take?
So basically, it's half of your gen eds that you would take as normal, you know, an average gen ed. Those are going to be honors classes. And the only key difference is really you collaborate a lot more, you talk more as a group. It's a lot less busy work. I actually find they're like my easier classes. So that's been kind of nice. Whenever I have an honors college class, it's kind of like, okay, let's go.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, how does the community nature of honors, how does that help you throughout your life and your experiences here at SHIP? Because obviously that's a tight-knit group of people, and all sorts of different majors are obviously in the honors college. So how does that enhance your campus experience? Not just the academic perspective of it, but the friendships and everything else that can come with the community from it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like we talked about, my two roommates, I met them through the Honors College. Like, my first day here on campus, I met Michael Luzzi, I met Ryan Firmstone, and I met a lot of my, better friends that I still have to this day through the Honors College. So that's probably been the biggest part for me. I think looking more into like the service and community outreach side, you do have requirements to actually do these service activities, actually interact with the community and other honors college students. So it's kind of a good way of like keeping yourself in check and making sure you are doing more for the community as a whole, and you're reaching out to other people.
Yeah, you mentioned you live with two other people who are in the honors college. That's an IQ score. It's probably a little above average in that room, I'd imagine.
No, I don't think so. I think me, Ryan, and Lucy, we're probably on the lower percentage of the honors college.
Oh, well, no, you guys are outstanding in the forms of being involved in things that, not just the honors college. I mean, that's what I think is a comprehensive college experience, is choosing more than other things. That's a good segue into the next topic I want to get into, is your decision to join Greek life. So, you talk about representing something bigger than yourself. You make that decision your first semester, sophomore year. What was going into that process of, like, because you talked about your roommates were sort of inspiring you to pursue it. When did you decide, like, okay, maybe I want this versus, all right, I definitely want this?
I think the real turning point was I kind of asked myself, like, where does this lead to? Are there any downsides, or is it only positive? And I already knew enough about Kappa that I was like, okay, this is all going to be good stuff for me, my future. I'm comfortable with taking a leap into it, just seeing how it is. And obviously the brotherhood grew on me over time. Meeting everybody, getting to know everyone, that really did it for me. I felt really included. But I think it's also, like, that semester, I really didn't have too much going on. And I do stay pretty busy, kind of getting Greek life as another aspect, something else to do, just, for the enjoyment of it was also pretty big.
So you talked about making the decision to join Greek life, and obviously you're very involved in the fraternity to this point. How do you think the decision to join has gone so far? Do you think that you've got what you've wanted out of it, and what do you see you continuing to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to get what I've gotten out of it already. It's already paying dividends. Like, already meeting alumni, having a leadership role of treasurer. I mean, this is teaching me like huge, very important stuff for my future career, wherever that's going to lead me to. I think learning how to stay organized and organize other people, that's been big for me as a leader, and I think it's going to continue to be that way. Like I don't plan on leaving as a leader in the Brotherhood anytime soon. So I look forward to develop my leadership skills more. And
So talking about reeling it back in a little bit if we can. I'm the one who's not laughing this week, so I'm keeping myself together. So I gotta give a shout out to myself on that one. But no, just in regards to pursuing the higher leadership, Andrew gets in your ear. What got you into treasurer? Like that's it's a money oriented position. It is the business side of the operations. Sometimes Luke did it for you. He was your predecessor. Sometimes it's not the most appreciated, but without it, the chapter dies.
Yeah, I mean, watching Luke handle the fundraisers and philanthropy events, I mean, it looks like fun. Like when I attended them, just as a member, I had fun being there. Like it looked like something that I actually wanted to partake in. So I think that's probably what pushed me over the edge for trying for treasurer. Also, I love talking about, like, thinking about money. I love thinking about finance. So naturally, treasurer was one of the roles that I was led to.
Would you say that ever since you were a little kid, you just always thought about and loved money?
You know what, Plunk? No, I don't think I did.
You ever play, like, you're 5 years old? Were you the one that was like counting the mortgages for Monopoly when you're playing Monopoly?
Yeah, I've been doing my dad's taxes since I was like 2. So you know.
I mean, going off of that, you talked about fundraisers, which obviously are a super important part of the treasurer position, overseeing that part of it. But like, for the people that don't know, maybe give an overview of what else the position entails, because coming from somebody who did it for a year, there's definitely a lot of things that people don't see. For example, maybe some of the apparel stuff like that maybe people don't really notice or understand that a treasurer has to do day to day. So give a little overview of the operations that go into the position.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, the biggest and most time-consuming part of being a treasurer is just staying organized. That's definitely the biggest thing for me, because if I didn't stay organized in my spreadsheets and how I handled the position overall, I would be lost, completely lost. So organization is probably first and foremost for me. Also, dues, obviously a huge part of it. Chasing, I mean, about chasing people down for dues.
Oh yeah, it's gotten better though. It's not that bad anymore.
No, dude, I had it really easy this last semester. Hoping it'll stay that way.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye out for that. But just making sure keep track of all transactions going through the fraternity. So keeping those ordered. You spoke on apparel. Me and the apparel chairs, we make sure to organize exactly what we want to get for our shirts, what kind of apparel. We organize and communicate with the people who make the shirts, and obviously hitting that pay button to get the shirts makes my heart skip a beat.
It hurts. It always hurts.
So much. It's crazy. I think besides that, also just generally being a leader for the fraternity is a big part of it.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge part of it. Plunk, do you have something or no?
So I kind of want to connect it back to football before I pass it over to Rainey, as I believe he has something. In terms of connecting football and Kappa Sigma, what position were you in football? I believe you were a defensive captain, right?
I was a guard. Well, I played all over the line. I was a guard. Wow. I was a tackle. I switched sides wherever they needed me because we had a heck ton of injuries. But also defense, I played some D-tackle, mostly D-tackle, but they really used me on offense for the most part.
So how would you say, or how would you compare the style of way you led in high school on your football team compared to how you lead now within the chapter?
That's a really good question. So I mean, in high school, I was never too vocal. I still don't think I really am. When I'm in a comfortable place, a comfortable setting with people, I know I am. But I think that's for everybody too. But at least my leadership style, I feel like it's always been kind of lead by example. I'm never really that crazy vocal telling you what you should do, where you should go. So I think that's kind of how I translated over to being treasurer.
Yeah, I mean, the lead by example part is huge, and that kind of leads me into my next question. And going back to what you said about treasurer and being a general leader within the fraternity still as the treasurer is so important, what would you say your leadership styles kind of had to be within that? Because, it's not a stereotypical leadership position within treasurer because you're more focused on the business side, like Rainey had hit on. But what would you say you kind of have you had to change your leadership style, or what is your leadership style within the position?
I think it stays remotely the same. One big thing that I came into the leadership role really anchoring on making sure I was doing was making sure that everybody's voices were heard. Looking around to the brotherhood, I think I include that in the speech that I gave for being treasurer. I really wanted to make sure that everybody's thoughts were being heard, and I'm not saying that we didn't do that in the past. I think we were doing fine at that, but I really wanted to take it to the next level, especially in the treasurer role, where you're not exactly expected to be that vocal, but communicating for the brotherhood as a whole was probably the main shift that I made.
Yeah, well, thank you so much so far for a great show, Owen, and appreciate the insights you've shared about your position, your life, and Kappa Sigma. So we're going to take a quick pause. Folks, we'll be back in just a moment. Back here on Greek Speak again with Owen Frederick this week, the Grand Treasurer of Kappa Sigma. So we're talking a lot about your leadership styles, Owen, and I guess I'm sitting in the presence of greatness with 3 executive committee people surrounding me. So
I like that a lot.
Much respect to the room that is surrounding me at this point. I think one of the things that I've noticed about this current executive committee is incentives. That's something that has clearly been focused on. And Owen, I think you've been a huge part of the effort on that. So where does the concept of creating strong incentives for participation, for involvement, for efficiency, because one of the things you talked about was incentives for getting payments in quickly when necessary. So how does that come about? How did you think of these ideas?
Well, I think number one, it wasn't as much to begin with targeting the brothers who weren't behaving, or not behaving, but acting in their role as a member how they should. It was more so about how can we recognize the brothers who are overachieving. Those who are really going out of their way to get their dues in quick, because I love that. Those who are really being great in the community for other clubs, those who are rising above others in the fraternity. But it is also to kind of incentivize those to be like, all right, let's pick it up, every fraternity is going to have a few that lag behind. And kind of recognizing them for a shift in behavior and being like, okay, this is what we need out of you through incentives. That's the way to do it.
Well, yeah, some people are otters and others are rocks. I mean, that's a popular saying. So, yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, to touch on that a little bit, people are inherently self-motivated, but inevitably people get complacent, and I think that's where the incentives really blasted off there, because we realize that when you're in the fraternity for 2 years, or more, people start to lag out a little bit and check out a little early. And the things we've installed, huge credit to Freddie for a lot of it, and Alex did a lot of work with that as well. But phone's ringing, that distracted me. Yeah, I think that's one of the major things with that is to just keep people going. And I've seen that a lot with you, Freddie, with the paying dues on time, you get entered in a raffle, stuff like that. But kind of shifting gears just a tad, still remaining on leadership. What's one thing you've kind of learned from being on the executive committee?
I mean, there's so much.
Just one thing, or you can talk about multiple, whatever you want to do.
I think one big one is working with the other leaders within the fraternity. I mean, not as much just how can we help out other brothers, other members within our fraternity, but how can we help out each other as leaders? How can we act as someone you can lean on and depend on? And I think that so far we've been doing a great job with that. I mean, everybody's been flourishing in their roles, and I know that it does get busy, but we can all depend on each other at the end of the day on that. And I think that's also one thing for me. I've never been great at dividing my workouts to people. Mm-hmm. Asking other people to help out. I can be a little stubborn with that. So I think this leadership role has really opened me up to that, because I do need help at times with it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Well, it's also a trust aspect too. I mean, it's hard to surrender power and authority, because when you know the operations of everything, it all makes sense to you. But if you're an organized person yourself, you trust that you can handle everything. So it's I talked about with Drew Williams when he organized Fun Run. The strategy for him was, everybody else leave me alone. I'll tell you when I need you, and it'll get done otherwise. I think sometimes that's a fine approach in leadership. Sometimes that's what's necessary in order to get things done in the quick and efficient manner that a lot of times the paperwork of treasurer positions need done. So I think it's totally fair to look at it in that way. Beyond that, I mean, so the fundraisers and philanthropies. So talk about some of the events we've been able to do so far this semester. I mean, we had the big one with the fun run, obviously, but after that, we have had some activity.
Yeah, I mean, I think the major one that immediately comes to mind, I think it was 2 weekends ago, we did the military appreciation football game. And that was something that I did come into the semester hoping to plan out and actually do. Luke looked into it last year, but something fell through there that he couldn't get it done with, I forget exactly why. But
yeah, no, it doesn't.
Anyways, though, we did it 2 years ago. It was really well done, and we were just hoping to bring it back, and we did. And Luke was a big help for planning that out, making sure it did run smoothly. Like I said, kind of distributing some of that work. I'm getting better at it. So he was there to help with that, which was huge. But that was a big philanthropy event for us, probably the biggest one that we've run so far. Just acknowledging the leaders, I mean the heroes in our community that did help and gave their service.
Especially a fitting time of year for it. I'll tell you what, it was a good experience too, because being able to go in the stands and express it like we were collecting donations at different points throughout the game. That was a enjoyable experience. It reminded me of the people at the ballparks who would sell the cotton candy. Those vendors, like being able to promote it that way, and that was a good way for people to contribute and donate. And I think that was a wonderful way for our chapter to make a presence as well. Because we had our military brothers, they were able to, quote, dot the I in the ship pregame marching formations with the band. So that was a really special honor, and I'm really thankful we were able to organize that for their sake and be able to get that recognition for our chapter. So, yeah, I mean, it's been cool events throughout the semester so far, and there's always, I mean, those efforts continue throughout the spring, and even during the winter break and summer break. We had things going on this summer to contribute to our military heroes philanthropy. And of course, that's such an important cause for our chapter. But we have talked a lot about your experience in honors, your experience at Kappa Sigma. But I know there's a little bit left to uncover regarding what you do here at SHIP and everything you do at SHIP. So talk to me a little bit about your position and your involvement with Investment Club, because I know that's something that you pursued strongly, right?
Yeah. I think all three of you should probably come to our next meeting. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, you should come, man. So I'm the president of the Investment Club. I loved all the meetings last year. The only thing about Investment Club, and this is something that I'm still trying to change, is like talking about investments and talking about finance can only be so enjoyable. It can only be so fun to a particular amount of people. So finding a way to get people to come in and actually be full-time members, that's been something big we've been working on. And the club we came into a terrible position this year, just as an e-board overall. The club was abysmal last year. I think it was me and two others at every meeting. So it's really been a big change this year. We are doing much better, still trying to turn it around and make it something actually enjoyable instead of just another class session.
Yeah, well, it's multiple components. I mean, it's a culture thing, number one, and number two, it is a production thing. Give people things to do when they show up in the door, and also make it a place where they feel like they're going to enjoy the 30, 45, 60 minutes that they're in that room. That's something that I'm really glad to see you were able to help kind of try and strategize, figure out, get things turned in a positive direction for the club. So how did that interest start for you? How did you get involved in that? Was that a freshman year project, or just something you picked up last year and then just further pursued, or how'd that go?
Well, freshman year, I just entered the club because I do love investing, and I love finance. As you can tell from being the treasurer, you kind of have to enjoy it a little. So I've always been huge on investing, big interest of mine. So freshman year, I just entered as a member, went to the meetings, enjoyed the meetings. And then my second year as a sophomore, I think I was the economist, where you present on the current economy. Ryan Firmstone's actually in that position right now too, my roommate, Kappa Sig. So he's been doing great in that. And then, I entered this year as the president, so kind of just worked my way up, and I think I have a good grasp now on how the club should run, how meetings I would like to run. I would like to make it so it's not just me up there talking the whole time, get others involved, but yeah.
So I have like a major question regarding that, and I think it's an important thing in terms of life and especially in leadership is what are some strategies that you use to, keep yourself positive about it? Like obviously when you were saying last year when it was you and 2 to 3 others, a lot of people would pack up and quit. They would. So what are some ways that, some strategies that you use to really put yourself through it? And, you said that the club wasn't necessarily in the greatest spot last year and you were able to persevere and get it to where it is today. So what are some things that you did to keep yourself positive, to keep everything, afloat, just so to speak?
Yeah, I think probably the first major one is depending on the people who were actually there and actually came because, me and the people who did stay there and were committed to the club, like these are the people that we actually want here. People who enjoy it, want to see it flourish. Like if you don't want to come to the meetings, if you don't want to be there, on my terms, that's fine. That's okay. So I think that's kind of how I took it. Like you don't have to be here. Just if you're interested, you want to learn, it's a resource, and you're more than welcome. So
yeah, I mean, just out of curiosity, how are those meetings structured? Like, how many e-board members are there? What kind of goes on in the meetings? What do you guys talk about? Obviously investments, but further than that, like what goes on in those meetings?
Yeah, so I actually we didn't have like a set schedule or even really e-board before I came in, and I did take a lot of inspiration from Kappa for developing the club this year. So we do have a secretary who takes notes. Obviously I do a good amount of talking as president, just overall what we're going to be doing that meeting. I usually give a whole presentation on a specific subject. We have the economist who presents on the current economy around the world, in the U.S. We've got the treasurer, handles all the finances, obviously, marketing, and then we have a social media guy too. So they've all been really big this year. And then just looking at the overall structure of how our meetings work, starts off with attendance, obviously, just see who's there. And then we move into that economist presentation, learn about the economy, what's going on around the world. It's more of a current events presentation than anything else. And then we look at the Market Watch game that we're doing. This all sounds so boring. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's interesting. I mean, I did stocks in high school. I mean, I was there was a stock market challenge in spring of 2021, which what a time that was to be playing around with the stock market. I'm interested. Keep going.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are doing that same Market Watch game right now. It's like a simulation with you get like $100,000 to work with. Winner gets the pot. So that's really fun. We go over that, and then we move into the full presentation that we're looking at. Usually it's going to be on some major investing tip that we have as an e-board, something I use, something that I think all basic investors should know. So that's the real education part of it. But I do want to mention that like these meetings, they do sound very structured, very organized. I try to keep it a little loose. Like I try to keep it pretty informal because like I've said, investment club, how fun can you really make it? So I do try to keep it pretty loose and silly sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, people have to want to show up, like you said, and a way to keep people want to show up is recognizing it's not a class commitment and just enjoy it for what it is. You're going to enhance your learning experience, but also just have an enjoyable way of doing it. So we're going to take a quick pause here again on Greek Speak. Again, this is Owen Frederick, Grand Treasurer from Kappa Sigma. Luke, Rainey, Andrew Mercier, and Luke Hillegass also in the studio today. We'll be back in a minute. And welcome back to Greek Speak here on WSYC 88.7 FM from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, with Luke Rainey, Andrew Mercier, Luke Hillegass, as well as Owen Frederick, Grand Treasurer of Kappa Sigma, President of the Investment Club, member of the Wood Honor Society. And your interest in Investment Club, and we were talking about a little bit during the break, Owen, I just want to hear about, like, you apparently do a little bit of social media activity pertaining to this.
Yeah. No, that's it was a little summer side project I had. It wasn't even social media really. I'm crazy on Bitcoin. Like I talk about
really?
I talk about it all the time. It's really not good. It's kind of unhealthy. Some amount of the money that I have in it, like it's pretty bad. But anyways, it was a summer project where I actually like established a company. I did file an LLC for it, so I have. It's a legal container. That's the way I call it for just my conviction in Bitcoin. And basically what the This is
Yeah, no, keep going. I mean, yeah.
So what the TikToks were is basically, and it was so out of nowhere too. People were texting me like, "What the hell is this?" And I mean,
Keep going. You're okay.
And basically it was just like it was that education side of it. Like I was just trying to teach people about it. And I mean, you can ask my roommates. I talk about it way too much to them. They still don't believe in it, but we're gonna turn them soon.
What's the term? It's you're hawkish or dovish, right? Is that how it goes in economics? I believe bulls, bears.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. I'm pretty bullish. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's the crypto space is interesting. I know that's certainly been a popular topic lately, especially in even the regulatory and the legislative world too. So, and it's good to have that outlet to sort of express yourself. I mean, you're promoting something in that standpoint. Like how do you prepare your videos whenever you're doing those promotion efforts? Like, how is it just like you research a little bit about the subject first, I'm sure, and then tidy it up?
Yeah, I mean, most of it is based on just background knowledge because I've done like a stupid amount of research into it. Like I said, it was kind of a summer project. I've learned a lot about Bitcoin, so a lot of it's just based on background knowledge. Obviously, if I need to tighten up some statistics or something, I'll research it, ChatGPT that thing, but otherwise, I was just production wise, I was just using like the TikTok camera, man. I don't know. Yeah. Nothing fancy. I mean, you did I don't mean to switch the interview around on you, Rainey, but you did a lot of work in Washington over the summer, didn't you?
I did, yes. I mean, that's where we talked about a little bit on this show. I mean, having a congressional internship experience where being able to work on Capitol Hill and see the federal government in motion, that was a wonderful, life-changing experience. And I think 3 months removed from it, that nostalgia bug certainly continues to eat away a little bit, but it's one of those deals where, even whether I go there for my entire career, part of my career, or I'm never able to go back there again for my career, I don't know the answer to that. There's no way to know. But to have had that for 3 months, it was an honor. Yeah, it was not necessarily in the same space of like creating content, so to speak. That wasn't the job I was doing at that time, but it was still that worthwhile experience where, again, it's a learning opportunity. It's experiential learning. I'm so big on that, of course, as you guys know, as I've talked about before on the show. And I think something like that, like that's the opportunity you talk about the social media, it gets you to to experiment a little bit. Sorry, can't get my words out a little bit here. But it gets you out there in front of the camera and gives you something to talk about with an audience.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of shifting gears just a little bit, we talked about other things that you were involved in on campus. And recently, you have obtained a position on the Interfraternity Council. So do you want to talk about what that position is, how you got into it a little bit for me?
Yeah. So I was an IFC delegate last year when I joined. That was one of my 2 chairs that I held. So, I went to every meeting. IFC is something that I'm pretty knowledgeable on at this point. I think it's pretty easy to understand how it works after you go to a meeting or two. I know you were on it. It's not that crazy of a concept. So,
no.
But I kind of got into running for the philanthropy/community service role. That is the position that you held. So I'm going to be leaning on you for help with it. And I wasn't planning on running for it at all.
You got lobbied into it, though, right?
Yeah. So I went into it as a voter. I was voting. Who do we want to be on this board? Who do we want to lead this interfraternal council? I was there to support Ryan. He was running for a position. I was like, all right, you got this. He wrote a speech up. I was like, let's do it. And I was in there sitting as a voter, and they were like, only one person running for philanthropy. Would anybody else like to run? And I won't lie, I did look across and locked eyes with you, and you just opened your eyes very wide.
And I'm not going to lie, I did the exact same thing. I mean, I remember you literally sat down. Tyler Sinkowski did the exact same thing. He sat down next to me, and I think Drew was like, well, that's the worst thing you've ever done in your life. And I literally hit on his shoulder, and I said, so what position are you running for?
Yeah. So I wasn't planning on it, not because it's not something that I wouldn't be comfortable with or that I wouldn't potentially like to do. It just wasn't something that I was planning on. But, we at the time didn't have anybody on the IFC board. I think having as many people as possible on the IFC board is very important just for, having responsibility and say over what does happen within Greek life. I did kind of take the responsibility of like, all right, I guess we should probably get somebody on there, and if it has to be me, so be it. So,
well, fortune favors the bold. In that case, it was spontaneity that was the bold action there. So I think that was a great move, number one. And number two, I think from our chapter, Luke and Andrew, I'm sure you guys could agree with this, is it's so important that the people who serve on IFC, something that represents us externally and internally and externally, you can call it, because obviously IFC, we are part of that, considering we are a social fraternity on campus. But it's also we're dealing with the other social fraternities, and IFC has very much an umbrella presence over them. So to have representation of people that are very likable and well-respected in our fraternity, like yourself, like Drew, and even like any of the other brothers who are participating in the interview process and the other brothers from the other chapters who are serving on IFC, is so important. So how has that transition been as you've been elected to this position? What is IFC looking to do in the next calendar year?
The transition's been pretty seamless so far. Honestly, they kind of have elections at a time where there's really not much going on. It's a really good transition where it's like, okay, you're not being thrown into the fire for, okay, plan this community service out. What are we doing for philanthropy? Obviously, I'm still thinking about all of that, but it's nothing that demands my immediate attention. So we as a board are just kind of communicating right now and figuring out what we want to do, how we want to enter the next semester with. And I think most of it is just maintaining a lot of the leadership that we've had on past boards, and just making sure that Greek life will flourish.
I'll address the elephant in the room. Obviously, there's a little bit of a pipeline going on here. You went through, treasurer, and that was my position. Now you're serving on IFC as the philanthropy community service chair. That was my position. Kind of segueing this into something here. What are your plans for next year? Where do you see you going next? Do you want to serve as treasurer again? Do you want to move up on the board? What are you thinking so far?
That's a really good question, Luke. Great question. And I would like to answer that right now, but I just I don't think I can. There's too many factors, man. But I'm definitely thinking about it, definitely planning it out. Like I said, either way, I'm going to be a leader within the fraternity. Whether depending on whatever position I hold. If I do hold a position at all, we will figure that out, but I will continue to be a leader, especially on IFC. I think that could now be another big role for me too, going up the level to the actual council and making decisions for Greek life as a whole. That's a big interest of mine. Now, when you say pipeline, I went into treasurer after you were treasurer. I went into philanthropy after you were philanthropy. Yeah. You've been doing a great job as president so far.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I just want to say you've been doing really good.
That's one of those. I'm not saying what I'm saying, but I'm saying what I'm saying. Is that?
No. And I don't know if anybody can really step up to that and replace what you're doing. So thank you.
Well, you sure did it for treasurer, and I know you don't like to admit that, but you're doing an excellent job too, Freddie.
Well, at the end of the day, it is we do have a lot of very talented brothers throughout the fraternity who can represent as well. So it's we certainly are in a position where there's a lack of people to choose from, and more of it's we have many good people. It's just who is the absolute best, and that's something that our chapter will have to really, really think about next year. So I'm excited to see where that goes for you especially, and for those currently serving on our exec board who'd be coming back, and for those who aspired to do it. So it'll be an interesting process. But you talk about this pipeline in theory. Going off that point, who do you see as not who do you see, but more of the question I'm trying to get to is the brothers that might not, that you are working above right now as treasurer, you oversee philanthropy, you oversee fundraising, you oversee finance, you oversee motivations. Throwing that in there at the end there, just to give it a plug. How do you give the mentorship back to them? Because that's the big gift I pursue whenever I'm in leadership as a brother. Whenever I'm looking at people interested in joining the organization, I'm always looking for people who I think are similar to myself, or I can inspire to have some of the same successes I've had in life.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the mentorship as a leader, a good way of attacking that is through servant leadership. And basically that's
I love that so much.
Yeah. So basically that's just what can I do for you? Not I don't view people as you're working for me, or at least I try not to. It's more so what can I do to help you in your role, and that I know in turn will help me in mine.
Yep.
So
help me help you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
I mean, yeah.
motivation, though, just want to say, Rainey, you've done a great job following up with me for that. So,
Working hard.
yeah.
Real quick, I know Andrew wants to talk, but I just want to go off the servant leadership because that impressed me so much. It's something that I've been trying to tell you guys what to do, but that's something that I definitely would categorize myself as a servant leader. You are going to get on the front lines and do the work, and if you're going to expect the people underneath you to do the work, then you're going to do it with them. And that's something that is so important, and I think that is what makes our executive committee our executive committee. We're willing to do the work with everybody else, which is so important. Sorry to steal your thunder, Drew, but you can talk now.
No, I think that was a great good pointer to point out. Kind of just tying everything back together with just overall all of your experience. But let's talk about your experience within the board of Kappa Sigma. So obviously, the main purpose of college is to come to college, get your degree, and then move on into your career. What would you say are the best life skills that you've taken from just being a general member to being the treasurer to a possible new position next year? We don't know. What are some things that you could take from that and see it translating into your future career?
Well, I think, like I said, I've never been that vocal, but developing that voice, kind of getting groups, working with other people, and express my opinion, truly say what I think is best for the group or organization as a whole. That's big in any workplace, especially in like marketing teams, supply chain, where you have to communicate with other people, direct people on what we need to do. So developing that voice has been really big for me because, like I said, I've never been too vocal, especially as a leader. We're leading through experience and showing what I'm doing. But other than that, the organization, especially. Throughout high school, I did kind of. I did fine in high school, but I didn't take it all that seriously. I didn't stay tremendously organized. I was kind of disheveled, and that led to a lot of stress for myself. So I've been in a really good headspace, and just staying organized within the roles that I have and the work that I'm doing. I know that I'll transfer over to whatever professional goals I have next. So.
Oh well, that's a good answer. Especially good to hear the growth from high school to college, because I'm sure that's true for a lot of people in Greek life. It's something. There's something about it that really inspires that growth. And we'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here. We're wrapping up here on Greek Speak with Owen Frederick, our special guest. As always, it's Luke Rainey, Andrew Mercier, and Luke Hillegass in the studio from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Back in just a moment. All right, back on Greek Speak here with Owen Frederick on this Friday evening. And Owen, as again, like I said, it's been a pleasure to have you. And it's now time for our favorite part of the show, where we didn't brief you on this beforehand, so it is a surprise. You get to ask us some questions. So we've asked you a lot of questions throughout the show. It's now your time to ask us some questions. What do you got?
Oh man, I think the first one I got to ask is what happened? What was the account you made, Drew? The sports one?
Oh, Beyond the Game.
Beyond the Game, dude. What happens beyond the game? What happened? Because I was enjoying it.
It's coming back soon. Don't worry. I think it's just been a combination of Rylan, Bryce, and I have had very conflicting schedules. There has been some thought about possibly bringing it here to WSYC next semester, just so we can have a weekly session. Obviously, the format of the show would have to change up a little bit, as the current format's a lot more casual than on a professional national radio station, but it's definitely in the works, so to speak. That's a great question, but let's keep it going.
Yeah, I keep it going. I was enjoying it, like I said. All right, Luke, what have I got for you? All right, how about as president? Obviously you got to oversee the entire fraternity. Make sure that everybody's fulfilling their roles. Nothing's going astray. How do you can only be in one place at a time.
Yeah.
How do you ensure everything's running smoothly?
Yeah, I think that is a great question. I think that a lot of people don't really think about it like that. I think the biggest thing is trust. Obviously, I have 4 other guys that serve on the board with me, and trusting that they're in the spots that I can't be when I need them to be is super important, and ensure that they're doing their job correctly without having to micromanage them, I feel like is crucial. because I think that's a thing you see with I don't know what happened there.
Sorry, keep going.
I think that's something you see with presidents that come into their position early is they try to get too involved within the other positions and they kind of micromanage a little bit, and just taking a step back when I need to and knowing when I need to let my guys do their job the way I know they know how to is super crucial.
And then Rainey,
Yeah.
we talked about your work in DC earlier.
Yeah.
Would you like? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'd like to work on Capitol Hill, but in the case that you did, do you know exactly what role you would like to fulfill?
Well, I've said it before to everybody I've talked to. I study two things on this campus for a reason. I study political science and communication with the concentration in public relations, or the full title, communication, journalism, media, concentration, PR. And I think it's certainly the combination between the two. I've been lucky in that a lot of the internships I've been able to apply the opposite skill set in the position I'm in. So if I've had communications internships, my knowledge about politics has been very, very relevant to the work I've been able to do. If I've had political internships, my knowledge in communications has been very, very relevant to the work I've been able to do. The bottom line is that at the state, the federal opportunities, at the state and federal level, there are opportunities abound in all capacities there for pretty much any sort of politically oriented position you can think of. The challenge is showing that you are really driven, you're really capable of doing that work, number one. And number two, getting connected with the right people who have the connections you're looking for and being able to use those appropriately. Not use those, but be able to be benefited from those. DC is very much a networking-oriented town, and I got the thrilling adventure this past summer of being able to grow my network through the DC people down there. My LinkedIn connections took a huge upward spike. That'd be a great day in the stock market if you're looking at it in that sense. But no, I mean, I'm excited for wherever my career takes me. Obviously, it is a bit nerve-wracking because the end is coming for college, and the real world really starts in less than 6 months. But I think it's going to be an adventure, and I'm excited for wherever it's taken me because so far I've had so many good experiences.
I have another question, or
you can give one more if you want.
One
Yep,
more?
we got a little bit of time.
All right, Drew. I mean, back to you, man. I think that a lot of people within our fraternity are in their position because you brought them in. You kind of talk to everybody whether they like it or not. And you're great at that. Where did you pick up these qualities from? Is that something that like just reaching out to everybody, seeing if they're interested? Is that something that you've just always kind of possessed, or is that built?
I think that's a very great question. I think there's a lot of layers to it, and I honestly want to say it comes from both of my parents in terms of being hardworking in that aspect. But my mom has been a bartender for about, I want to say 26 years at this, 26, 27 years at this point. And the one thing that she was always, I guess, portrayed to me was everyone that she worked with and all of her customers were all her friends. And she actually took time out of her day to meet these individuals and really she'd be calling them buddy and stuff like that, and really just being a happy go joy person and just always trying to be their friend in a sense. So I think that connected there. And then I think my dad's side of always trying to get the best out of people, I think that's kind of what combined. And then it was the same thing in high school. I always just wanted the best for my friends. Often said or not, I would put my friends' happiness and all that, happiness and success above my own. So I think I simmered down on that a little bit. But I just love each and every person. And, often said or not, I feel like I see things in them that they don't even see in themselves. And I once heard that from a famous guy of the name of Jonathan Hinderleiter, referring to the guy sitting next to me. Oh, what a guy. But besides the point, I just always I'm a very future-oriented person. Wow, that took a little bit to come out. And I just always want to see, get the best out of everyone. And, not just for them, but for organizational sense. But, yeah, I think I just really, really love to see other people succeed because I think a lot of great things can come from it.
All right, and then speaking of success, this has been a very successful episode, I think, of Greek Speak. And Owen, I appreciate all the insights you've shared with us about your life and background and your involvement as our Grand Treasurer, Kappa Sigma. It's been an honor to call you a brother and a great friend, and really thank you for your work. We're off next week for Thanksgiving, and then we should have one more episode to go in the fall semester, and it will be a good one, so stay tuned for that 2 weeks from now. But until then, have a nice Thanksgiving holiday, and we'll see all of you later.